Every time I get going on a fucking good talk, the dogs start barking. What is going on, guys? It's Viking here again for the 5th Nomad podcast. Even just saying that is crazy that we've actually been doing something for 5 weeks. Most of the time we just kind of start something and it more or less dies off right away. But this one's to you guys. Cheers, boys. Just can't thank you all enough. I know I say it every time, but the support that we've been receiving from the community has been phenomenal. The amount of input has just been crazy as well. Guest-wise, we're actually booking up way in advance now, which is something I definitely didn't expect to happen. Awesome show for you guys today. We have a great interview with Rayman and Dobbs from Force Recon. Nightfall's over now. Kind of looking more forward at the Daybreak side of things. A lot of people have some questions that may or may not get answered in this one. Also, just heads up, this was recorded a week ago, right before the sign-up. So it's kind of funny how some of the predictions played out about how registration was going to go. I know you guys already know, you've heard me say it many times, this podcast, as well as our team, sponsored by Niagara Quartermaster Airsoft. Amazing store, great storefront, awesome customer service, and some people actually don't know that they have a field here in Niagara as well. I see a lot of new players asking for new places to kind of look and play. Go ahead, check them out. You can find them on Facebook. Niagara Quartermaster, there's Niagara Quartermaster Group, NQ Sarge as well, I believe. But if you go ahead and type that in, you'll be able to find all the information, and one of their customer support staff can easily point you in the right direction. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the podcast. Daybreak. Wow. Kind of hard to believe Nightfall's already come and gone this year. It definitely, for me, always felt like the big build-up of the year, and then it's over, and it's kind of always like a downhill coast from there. But this year, Force Recon going out of the way to host a second event, this time at Barrie Paintball. Excuse me. So seeing them switch up venues is something that's going to be definitely interesting. It's really going to kind of show if it's the AO, like PRZ, that always made Nightfall what it is, or if it's actually the guys running the game. Personally, I really think it has a lot to do with guys running the game. They've got a lot of games under their belt. They really know what they're doing. They've probably encountered just about every situation at a game you can encounter, both good and bad. So, but I know for a lot of players, it's that maybe don't know the Force Recon guys as personal as I do, or a lot of my team members do. It's definitely going to be a judge of, well, yeah, it's a Force Recon game, but it's at Barrie Paintball this time, and for a lot of the Milsim community, a lot of it's all southern Ontario, southern, maybe western Ontario, so Barrie Paintball is definitely going to be a field that a lot of the teams going maybe haven't played, maybe not have played as often, and for the most part, I would think have not played since they did their new expansion. For anybody that doesn't know the new expansions I'm talking about, I personally haven't got the full grasp of it yet. That's definitely something I should have looked into a little bit more. But I've seen some pictures, seen some videos, seen the play there, and it's amazing from what I can tell. The owners really put a lot of money into what looks to be a central tack town. I played Barrie Paintball many times when I was younger, actually growing up in that area, so that was definitely always one of the fields that I played back in the old paintball days. But with it being in that northerner area of Ontario where there really isn't that milsim community, it's going to be interesting to see how many people actually attend and enjoy the game. It's definitely going to be a lot more bush than people are used to with the PRZ game. But knowing the Force Recon guys, there's no way they're not going to just smash it out of the park. These in the interview, like I had said, it kind of took place before registration had gone through, which is interesting because we had talked about how fast they had thought it was going to sell out in comparison to the Nightfall games. Right from the get-go, I said this game's going to sell out. I mean, the support in the community is there, and the community wants more milsim. There were people signing up for games that they don't even know if they can attend. They just want to get the money in, get that spot. Worst case scenario with most games, you can always get rid of your spot. There's always someone looking to join a game, and I forget the exact time. I'm sure there'll be a follow-up interview about registration, but I forget the exact time, but the game itself sold out as well. So, and one of the main things I'm wondering is how much, because of the different locations, how much it is going to switch up the kind of community that we have right now. I mean, when we're out there, all the guys, we're all, for the most part, the same core group of guys. Give or take some newer teams or traveling teams. Like at Nightfall, speaking of like newer teams, like teams kind of rotating back in. The Goa, Guardians of the Asgard guys, just ran into them again. I hadn't seen them in a year, if not over a year. And it was great to see them out. They were getting back into the rotation. Like, any team helps the community, so it doesn't matter how good you are or what you are. Like, just having another full team on the field really helps grow the community. No matter what team it is, it's great to see new returning players out on the field, really switching it up. Not that it ever gets stale or anything like that, but once you play with teams enough, you kind of understand the kind of gunfights you're going to have going into it. Like, I know any gunfight I have with my boys at Crywolf is going to be me behind them, shooting them in the back. It's been 2 games in a row now. The first game, they were Op 4, and me and my squad, I guess, didn't quite trust them, so shot them right in the backs. They were very unsuspecting. And then the second game would have been Nightfall, playing against them. We were on tan, they were on green. We were in the 2-story building, I believe it was, and I had snuck back behind a window. And at the time I didn't realize it was them, but there's a whole squad of butts facing me. And so when I started firing in, it wasn't until, of course, I ended up getting shot as well. There were way too many guys to try and shoot at once. But it wasn't until after that I realized that, sure enough, it was our buddies over at Crywolf. So Mad Wolf is a thing. Just building friendships every time we get out there, and that's kind of the memories that is great to start out with. Some newer teams or some returning teams. You really get to make those stories at Milsims. So with this being a different location, it's going to be interesting to see how many of the Barrie teams and, Wasaga Beach, even some of the Toronto teams that are going up there, and who knows how many teams are other way around there. I know there's Orangeville Airsoft. I don't know how big their team is and whatnot, but it's going to be interesting to see if the Milsim community changes or not. There's also quite a surprise at the end of the interview with that. I believe it has been leaked already. I don't quite know, actually. But stay tuned to the end, or skip right to the end of the interview with Force Recon. I don't recommend it. It's a really good interview with those guys. But quite a spoiler for how much fun you're gonna have at Daybreak. So if there is anybody that's been to an event with Nomad, you can probably guess what the surprise is, and you are right. But listen in just in case. Flying solo on a podcast feels incredibly weird. You're just kind of talking into, I'm actually recording the video at the same time that I record the audio. But I keep thinking I guess Carly knows I do this podcast. But for anyone else, if there's anyone visiting or anything like that, they probably just think I'm upstairs just having full-blown conversations with myself. You almost have to try and act like there's someone asking you questions that you're responding to. So, but everyone, we're getting better every time. Trying new stuff, trying new ways to do interviews. And the amount of people that are interested in doing these interviews, I am very surprised by. I knew off the start that people would want to get involved because, as a rule, everyone loves anything Nomad does. Everyone wants to be around it with stuff we do, whether it be keggers, events, things like that, because they know it's just going to be an overall fun time. But as these podcasts start growing, and not that they're anything huge by any means, like right now, I think on average we get 100 views or something like that. But that's right now. We're only episode 5, and people are actually seeing the potential of what it could be. So that's just amazing, and thank you guys. But I can tell that people are starting to see it in a way that maybe the publicity will help them. We're getting some. We're gonna talk to a few different companies. I'm not gonna spoil that because you know how things go. Lots of shit falls through. Eventually gonna get NQ on here. That's one that I don't know why we haven't off the start there, but a lot of with just the timing of everything with Force Recon and our guest for next week, you really kind of got to space it out that you want the stuff that's really, I guess, what's that word? Can't think of that word. Based on the topic at hand, let's say, everyone's focusing on Nightfall right now, so it wouldn't make sense not to do one on Nightfall, or everyone's focusing on Daybreak, so it would make sense to do a cutoff about that. The next area, too, that we're moving into is doing more game streaming, things like that. And we really want to start kind of fell off the bandwagon of keeping the community up to date with stuff that we're doing, and we really want to get back into doing that. But it's also a huge way for us to stay connected in the community with people that we might not get to talk to all the time. So if you're out there listening or heard about this, you're an up-and-coming team, a business, anything like that. I just punched my microphone. Shoot me a message, guys. For the most part, I really like talking to people and drinking beers. That's also, if you're going to get in the podcast, don't forget to bring a beer. But, so yeah, send a message. Let's get you in. Get these interviews going. And also, don't be shy. Send in ideas for things that you want us to talk about. Just because of timing, we couldn't have another Nomad guest here. But one thing I do want to move into is really getting a lot of the other guys and girls from the team in to talk to you guys. Get a perspective from everyone. Because, everyone knows that I'm very opinionated and usually lean to one side on an argument. But it'd be good to kind of get a lot of the different views of Nomad. That's the one good thing about our team is everyone shares opinions, but for the most part, we also all are very different. We all has different views on a lot of things. So it'll be really interesting to get quite a few of us up here talking. I'm sure there'll come a time where I won't be able to make one. Very, very small chance, because I've been pretty prepared about backdating a lot of this stuff. But as I do this, I realize that if it's on a topic that's kind of time-based, the quality of the content is going to go down. But we've said it before, episode 12 is when we're at our peak. So this is episode 5. We're not even halfway through getting to the best podcast you've ever heard yet, but we're kind of making it. So without further ado, guys, let's go on over, listen to the boys at Force Recon. They got some great information coming out of them about Daybreak, as well as ask them a couple questions about ideas that I have and Nomad has for running our own mill sims. So, hey, maybe you'll learn something. Awesome to have you guys back. We're here with a couple of Force Recon guys. Why don't you guys introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, my name's Rain Man.
Dobby.
All right, so we're here with Rayman and Dobby from Force Recon, the two leads from the team, the guys that put on Nightfall and upcoming Daybreak for us. Now, had you guys, this is the second time on the podcast here. We thought we'd redo it because Rayman's internet decides to go for a shit every time we try this.
The hamster, okay? Give me a break.
So, depending on when this is posted, Daybreak registration will either be in 2 days or 2 days ago. So we'll see when that is. But what are you guys expecting for this registration compared to a Nightfall registration? Good talk, boys.
A really good question. I'll mention it.
Hopefully it goes smooth. Realistically, because it's a new format, new game, I would be very surprised if it sells out in the 2 minutes like Nightfall. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I'm not banking on the first installment of this game to sell it whatsoever. If it does, that's fantastic, but it's not something that we're counting on. The people that want to come out and support the event and what we're doing, that's awesome. Going to come out and be a vanguard for future events and stuff like that. That'd be awesome as well. The registration process, I think, is going to run smoothly, just as smoothly as it does for Nightfall. We're all ready. We just got to flip the switch. So
yeah, you guys got the actual kind of techniques behind the registration process pretty down pat from your other events. And that what Dobby kind of answered was what I was looking for there. If you guys thought it was going to sell out as well, personally, I kind of see it as I bet it's going to sell out just as fast as Nightfall, if not at least within that first couple days, hours, whatever. Because the same group that goes to Nightfall is going to want to go to a Force Recon game. I don't think it necessarily has as much to do with the AO as the publicity you guys do for your game. And a lot of people have seen the Berry Field now and want to play there as well.
Well, yeah, I think the publicity, but even on the administration end, I think they know that we put a lot of time and effort into it. And it definitely bleeds over into the game, so I really hope that's an aspect of people why they enjoy it as well.
Yeah, one other thing too. Are you expecting a different crowd of new players just because of kind of the location of the game compared to the PRZ field?
So far, I'm going to say we're actually going to have a lot of players come out of retirement to play, actually. Guys that thoroughly enjoy playing in bush more than they do like an urban site. I think it's going to be a very diverse, interesting crowd.
Yeah, the way that I kind of see it, and this is something that I talked with Adam and Eric about in my last podcast, was, yeah, people get all excited for the buildings and stuff like that, but I don't think it makes the AO, because a lot of the good gunfights you have aren't even inside those buildings. They're from shooting inside a building out of it. There's not a lot of like room clearing and shit like that
I agree.
in these
like,
games.
Like every like Nightfall 2 or 3, like the fighting majority of it has all been outside. Nobody really wants to go into the buildings all that much for whatever reason.
Yeah, there's always like one squad that holds it or whatever, and then once the enemy rolls in, it's over, and then they hold it until another squad comes in and takes it. Like, unless it's set up on a skirmish style where the actual objectives are all inside one building or something like that, the gunfights happen outside. So I think having a field that's more developed for an outdoor play and built as such will actually really benefit the game style.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm on side with that.
I'm glad you are, because it's your game, so I hope you support it.
Oh, Jesus. Looks like a chipmunk.
But
I pasty white in.
So, for some of the players that maybe haven't had a chance to see Barrie paintball or anything like that before, a lot of the outdoor stuff's pretty similar to a lot of the outdoor fields you see. I think the big thing that people want to know about is the newest feature to the field, that being their tack town building style thing. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that for some of these players that might be on the fence about coming to the event?
All right. First of all, the field itself. Have you played there before, Mitch?
Yeah, I grew up around that area. I've played with Saga and Barrie quite a bit.
Yeah, so from playing other paintball fields myself when I played, compared to this one, one thing I like about Barrie is they've got like the tunnels. Every field is quite different, actually. Like, it's not like a carbon copy over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
But when you talk about the city, though, that thing's epic. It's huge. It's a lot bigger than it actually looks. When you get walking around it, I know Jay and I, when we were up there walking around, you go into the one long building, it's like, damn, it's this hallway, and then every hallway has like, what, 8-9 rooms off of it, and it's like multiple level.
Yeah, that's they actually, when they were first building that, Nomad got an invitation to come down and test it out. Unfortunately, just because of timing, we weren't able to make it down there as a team. But the field itself, I've played multiple times with paintball and paintball and airsoft, and I know it's changed a lot since the last time I've been there. So that's one thing I'm pretty excited for.
Yeah, it's changed a lot last time we were there too.
Yeah, it. But I think everyone can kind of agree from the community. It's good to see you guys not moving on from PRZ, but kind of opening up your options and really bringing something new to the airsoft community.
Yeah, there's definitely the draw for it. Like, for those people that think we're gonna reinvent the fucking wheel for like a new game or whatever, it's not gonna happen. We're gonna borrow things from Nightfall that work, that we know that work, and we've proven for the last 8 years that they do work. So, we're gonna steal some things from that, and as I said yesterday in the other podcast, that we're gonna pilot our new mission, structure system inside the game. So, it gives you a little more immersion, something more, for players to do. Not that there isn't a lack of things to do by players in the game, because, when we're at the CPs, people are always in and out asking what they're going to do, and they're always being spent on something, right? So, if anything, this might present more of almost a struggle, I guess, even more so for the community to complete these missions as well as trying to, push the field positions and stuff. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I really think that it's going to be more enjoyable than Nightfall. That's my opinion on it, and I think it does have a lot to do with the field.
But yeah,
As fun as PRZ is, it's an absolute blast. But I think that a field like Barrie is going to have a far better diversity of the gunfights and a lot better kind of movement on the field and actual play and layout of the field. I think it's going to allow for more people to have more fun than PRZ.
it'll be interesting. We've got a couple more trips to go up. I'd like the field at night because there is the main chunk of it that is lit. But, we've got a bunch of those solar lights that we're going to try and place around the field to, not really brighten everything up, but just give you enough ambient lighting that you're not out in the middle of fucking nowhere sort of deal. So
Exactly. So I don't want to keep you boys too long. One opinion I do kind of want to get from you guys is an idea that I've been passing around a little bit on here. For milsims, what do you think of the idea of a milsim being based where off the start the sides aren't even? And through that I mean like if you have a military force versus a rebel force, Pardon, sorry?
They're not designed to be. Milsim West is actually like that.
I haven't played any States games yet, and I really want to start moving down towards that area.
Well, guess what? November we're going to Faded Giants. So
I know you've told me. I need to get my passport shit in order because you guys, the Task Force Delta guys, have been amazing about really sending a lot of invitations my way. A couple other local teams, things like that, and it's just as much as I want to, I legally cannot. So I want to get. Pardon?
You can rush that stuff in like a week, eh?
Yeah, so, without getting too much into it, what ended up happening is I lost all my information, so I don't even have a birth certificate right now, so I basically have to start from the very beginning, and I've been super lazy about it.
Are you an alien?
Are you Mexican?
That's what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure I'm a Mexican. I'm pretty sure right now I'm an illegal immigrant, so... But
it's a good thing you got till November.
Exactly. If I get on it tomorrow or this weekend, we'll talk. I'm sure we'll have a podcast about that if I get into it.
Side of the wall. So.
But back to the kind of point. What do you guys think of those sort of objectives that aren't fair?
So the thing about doing the lopsided games like that, you got to be very careful that the team that has more players isn't stacked with both experience-wise, because your game will be over before it starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the team with the more players has pylons. They're still going to block objectives and stuff like that.
Right, yeah. More so what I was thinking, so just think about how Nomad has been getting more into the game running side of things over the last year or so. I was thinking of having a game where there's certain positions on the field that are at the very start of the game are already held by the military side. So instead of having to start back at their spawn and run in onto the field, their actual game starts at a location on the field. And so it kind of turns the first couple hours of the game into the rebels taking over that shit. Just kind of throwing out the feelers on what people's opinions on something like that would be.
I mean, it could be interesting. I would have to see the overall sort of format, because I guess before I could sort of comment.
Yeah.
And how lopsided are you thinking?
Well, so team size would be the same, but then say the actual rebel side or the civvy side would start at a specific spawn point, like at their CP or whatever, and then run out onto the field. But then the flags, much like Nightfall, how you have the flags or whatever.
Yep.
Say if there's 8 of them, 4 of them are set up as military-style bases that the commander can choose how many people to put at what base when the game starts, basically.
Now, would there be a reason why you would have them starting there?
Yeah, well, to make it more of the simulation of Well, to make more of the simulation of like there are and in like they're already on the field, they're a military unit, they're organized, and the rebels are trying to push them off of that instead of them just both running at each other, because that's not really. It's not
so
really
you're setting up more of a attack and defend style then.
Yeah, right off the start of the game before it moved into more like, and then you would have off the first 2 hours taking the rebels get a certain amount of points for taking a flag or flipping it, and whereas the military only gets a certain amount of points for holding it, kind of thing. Like, I haven't worked out too much. I'm just kind of, I want to do something different that's not, the same thing over and over again, right?
That's kind of cool. It's what was it? Sovereign Fury was like that, Dobby, sort of, where we had to sort of go in and take the town. I think it's a cool concept. I think it can be done. I think if you sort of limited how many people were able to start in those areas and maybe backed it up with maybe time on when reinforcements could actually come in and help them.
Right.
I think it's kind of cool.
The other thing that has come up before was the games that were run by TAG at the college had mandatory downtimes, where basically it was like the game would go from noon to, I think, 12, noon to 2, and then it was a downtime from 2 to 6, and then the game would start up again from like 6 to 12 or something like that. What are your guys' opinions on games that have a mandatory downtime in the middle?
I'm not sure if you can see this right now.
I cannot.
I think we've got our point there. I think each their own. Some players enjoy the break. I'd much rather just break through and sort of get it over with. Getting older, it's we're not chickens anymore. So having that little lull and a little break in having food, I would want to go down for a power nap. If what would happen. And
it's definitely not ideal for what we're used to playing, but like Faded Giant, when we go there, that's the way it is, right? They shut down, and I don't know. I have a lot of fun at Faded Giant.
Oh, I love Faded Giant.
Yeah, I've just found, like in my experience with it, I found that it helps a little bit with player drop off. That's the only reason it's kind of come up lately in a few of the conversations, is the way that it maybe helps some players to not just go to bed and stay asleep when they know they have.
Now, would you run during the night, or would you shut down on one at a certain time?
For me, like personally, if I was to run a game, I would run it in a way that there's a night portion still. So it would be, say, the first half of the game goes from noon till 2. So that's still your 14 hours? And then you have basically a 4 to 6 hour night period right there for all the cool guys with their nods to come out and play. A shutdown, and then a wake up in the morning where everyone is still fresh to go and gets in those good stories at the start of the game and is there for the last rush instead of falling asleep or leaving and missing kind of like the highlight of the end of the game.
Yep, I can see that. Faded Giant is like that. Plus, at first, how many hours the game is, but you're really happy when you have that downtime to sort of rest, because you were pushed so fucking hard during that time. But like, it's a little harder for us because we use the paintball facility. So if we're taking more time on Sunday, that's more time per head that we're taking away from the paintball facility.
Right, yeah.
So there's definitely, that's why the magic hour, like from 1 till 7 a.m. For Nightfall works out so well. It works out just the same for Daybreak. Time costs money, right?
Well, exactly, and like I don't think every event should be that way, or else it would really it would take away from the players that want to do that straight through, trek through it and get that kind of experience.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, I'll let you guys go. Thanks again for being on the show. And after you listen to last week's podcast, I'm sure you'll get a little bit more insight on my opinion on different ways that games are run. And have a great day. Have a great fucking day, I guess that's what we usually say. So,
Guy.
What a great fucking guy. Anthony Perry. Allow him
What a great fucking guy.
Allow him into every single game you ever have. I feel like Nomad's going to sponsor him in events now. I think that's where we're going.
I have a question for you,
Okay.
Mr. Nomad.
Yeah, buddy.
Are we going to see a keg at Daybreak?
Well, I guess that kind of brings up a question of, do you want Nomad to have a kegger at Daybreak? I know it kind of goes by fields and is there camping, stuff like that. Is that something you would like to see put on?
Well, I will give you guys a lot of credit. This year I was very impressed with how professional you guys ran it.
Yep.
You guys were very conscientious, making sure that everybody was safe the way they were drinking.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you guys did a phenomenal job this year.
Well, thank you very much. I also have not posted the video of me giving this speech right before the kegger, which is probably something I should have posted like right away. But as much as it's on us for asking people to drink responsibly, it's really on the community that also has that respect for you guys to not do that. And also, I made it pretty clear that if anyone was an idiot, I was going to be physical with them.
La 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 la. Didn't hear that.
But you know it. If that's what you guys want, I know the community wants it, and 100% will be there with a keg. So what's going to be Force Recon? Will there be a kegger at Daybreak?
I think it'd be okay.
I think it'd be fine. As long as people are responsible about it, it'll be fine.
There it is right there. Confirmed kegger at Daybreak. Posting that right now. Bye, boys. Have a great fucking